I'm Tristan Durand, and behind me is my 2007 Yamaha R1. The Yamaha R1, when it got released in 1998, this is the type of mythical bike that everybody wanted. I was a kid back then, I'm not a kid anymore. I finally have one. Doesn't look that great right now, but we're gonna make it better. So I really want to have that quick video showing what the bike looks like right now. And just to introduce that bike, because on the other videos we're gonna work on that bike and we're gonna make it pristine. We're gonna make it back on the streets again. This is just to give some context. The very first time I buy a wreck bike, the first time I do an auction, an online auction, and this is the very first time I buy something from Copart. So full virgin here, and this is great, super exciting because I finally have this. I want to mention that I didn't do an inspection before buying the bike because I think it's a great idea in theory, but in reality, when you want to buy something, a vehicle on auctions, you will not purchase, you will not win the very first one you're bidding on. You may not have the money for it. You don't think that vehicle would go for that much, and you're like, no, I'm gonna stop. The point is, you will not be able to buy the very first one, and if you pay for an inspection for all those vehicles, because you're gonna get the first one and you won't be able to really win the bid, and then there will be a second one, and a third one, and a fourth one, and a fifth one. So and everything goes really fast. So there is money and there is time. If you schedule an inspection, that inspection needs to be scheduled and the guy needs to go there and to send you pictures, and it's gonna cost you on top of it money. So you can do that. Auctions go really fast. There is vehicles selling every day. And when you see one vehicle going for auction the next day, you're like, oh, I need that inspection, and the inspector is not gonna be ready, and then it's gonna cost you $100 for a vehicle that you may not win at the end of the day, and it's gonna be $100 lost. So that's basically my reasoning why I didn't have an inspection. Now, the inspection is gonna be on that video right now. When I received the bike, I had some good surprises and I had some bad surprises. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start with the bad, and then I'm gonna go for the good. So let's take the camera, let's go around the bike. So, the bad. This is on that side pretty good. So I'm really gonna go on the other side. I'm gonna get some light. Yes, this is the good side of the bike, I know. So we're gonna look at the swing arm. Yes, that's what we see right now. So that is something I couldn't see on the photos. I don't even understand what kind of shot, what kind of accident that bike was on, the speed that was involved. But when you see that the guy was able, just because of the pure speed, to, I'm trying to not have too much light, like maybe right here, like it was torn from the swing arm. There is a big piece right now that is missing from the swing arm. Look at the section, look at the thickness of the aluminum. It got just like ripped apart right here. It just, I don't even understand how it's possible, but it definitely hit something that was solidly anchored to the ground. This is not on a car, this is not a moving thing that did that. This is something very strongly attached to the ground, maybe a curb right there. So that's the bad surprise. I'm gonna have to buy a new swing arm, and I was not expecting that. And then there's another thing that I wouldn't see on the pictures, and I just want to mention why I didn't see that on the pictures. Basically, I had one picture that was kind of like this, where we couldn't see the bottom of the swing arm, and I had a second picture that was with that type of angle right here. So for that side of the bike, we didn't see much, and I was not too comfortable with that, but that's basically what it was. The other side was more clear on the pictures. Then if we look at the front wheel, yeah, we're gonna see it right here. So same thing, you could not see that on the pictures. What you can see where the paint is missing right here is because the rim, where it's bent, is rubbing on the bleeding screw of the caliper right here. I hope we have a good idea right now. So that's the bleeding screw here, right there. And then When it's touching it, that's where you don't have the paint anymore. So those are the two things that I was not expecting at all and that I'm gonna have to change. Then we're gonna look at the bad, but I knew it was bad. So the rear subframe is completely damaged here. I think the bike rolled over, so when it landed on the back of the bike right here, it really was a lot of stress on that subframe, and that's the reason why on both sides, by the way, it is broken right here. Yeah, we can see. So I'm gonna have to change that subframe. Then there is a bunch of things broken that you can see, but there is so many things broken, bent on that bike that I'm not gonna be able to go through all of it. But you can see that this is bent right here, the passenger peg, then that rear set on that side. Then that I could hardly see on the photos, and I was like, oh, I just need to sand and paint, that's good. It's gonna be a good job done, and that swing arm is gonna look fresh. Well, no, you saw the other side. Then I got that to change, that cover for the command of the clutch. This seems to be plastic. I was kind of surprised. This is not aluminum, and it's not cracked, so I'm definitely going to run the engine without changing it. We'll see if I change it at the end. Then I have the tank right here, but it's kind of the good, so I'm going to talk about the tank in the good. And that's basically it for what I want to talk about the bad, because again, I can go on and on and on. So let's talk about the good now. Usually on a wrecked bike, the first thing you see completely broken or bent is the steering stop. Usually when you have an accident, the steering, the front end goes from one end to the other, or just go to one end very fast, and it bends or cracks the steering stops. You can see how beefy they are on that version of the R1. I'm pretty surprised. But when I look at the surfaces, the mating surfaces of that steering stop on the triple clamp, and then that steering stop on the frame, I'm just gonna try to bring some more light. They're really good, and that's the case on both sides. Very surprising, the front end does not look bent. I was expecting to have some bent or cracked, completely broken inner tubes right here. This is not the case. It looks like it's straight right now. Let's see as I go. The calipers are good, the brake lines are good, like a bunch of things are good on that bike. So that's a very good surprise. The front wheel, as I said, I'm gonna have to change, but the rest seems to be good. Well, I have that to change. I have that to change. The throttle stays open as I'm using it. You can see right here, it doesn't even come back. That master cylinder, I miss a hose here. There's a bunch of things. For the good, I wanted to mention the tank. That's the most damage I have on the tank. This is kind of crazy. It's just like slightly pushed in around the emblem. I need to do some filler. I need to prime and paint. I can make it good again. That is for sure. This is gonna look good. I don't have the skills or maybe the tools to just rebuild an entire tank. Usually during an accident, the driver, because of the shock, you know, you hit something in the front, because of the shock, the driver is going here, and then it's completely bent and smashed here, and that I don't necessarily know how to remake. So that's good that that tank is just like cosmetic here. We're good. Another good thing, I didn't expect that. I wasn't expecting at all to have like some Yoshimura mufflers. I was really seeing on watching those pictures, and for some reason, I was really expecting to have some stock exhaust and some stock muffler. And no, well, I got Yoshimura. I got the other one. It's not on the bike right now, but it's a part that I received. And yeah, so I'm pretty sure it's gonna look good on the bike when everything's finished without having to change the entire mufflers, because this is expensive. There's another thing, when I look at the line, the exhaust, I really feel like it's not bent. So that's a good thing. But let's see, as I go and work on the bike, I'm gonna find bad things. I know it is. It's usually like that. Then that's good because I have it, so I don't need to buy this one. On the other side, it is missing that cover. And yeah, that's what it looks like. I got the two seats. Can you believe that? I got the passenger seat right here, right there. And I got the driver's seat too. And they look good, don't they? I think they do, yeah. I don't need to remake them. So that looks good. The driver too. And that gives a good idea of what the bike looks like. So what am I gonna do on the next video? On the next video, I'm gonna start taking things apart. I'm gonna remove things. I'm gonna clean the bike. I really want to have a good idea of what's happening behind things, even though there is not much anymore. One thing, I don't have the gauge cluster, the stay that goes with it, the harness, and anything from the front end with the front fairing with the headlights. But this is coming. Not everything I mentioned, but some parts are coming. It was in the lot. When I received the bike with the transporter, I was like, where is it? I know my pictures, I really studied them, and I'm supposed to have my gauge cluster and my stay. Even though the stay is broken, I can see. And my headlights, I don't know in what state, in which condition they are right now, but I want them because they're very expensive. If they're broken, well, I have to buy them again, but if they're not, I can reuse them. So a bunch of parts, and on top of it, I cannot start that bike without the gauge cluster. So that's a problem. I need that, and I don't want to buy a new one. But there is another reason why I cannot buy that bike, is that bike doesn't come with a key. This is not a surprise. I knew it. It was on the listing. There's no key on this one, so I'm going to have to change my ignition switch, my gas lock, my gas tank lock, and my seat lock right here. So I have to change the 3 to have a new key, but I need that gauge cluster to start the engine, to even know if the engine works. I have no idea. I charge the battery. There is a battery, and it takes charge, so that's good. That's the extent of what I know on the bike right now. If you want to see me working on that bike, rebuilding it, putting it back on the streets, well, consider subscribing to the channel. Activate your notification, this way you know when I post a new video. If you like the video, well, help me and like the video. I see you in the next one, and meantime, keep building.